Some of the fiercest and bloodiest fighting in the Pacific in World War II took place in the 5-week battle for Iwo Jima. Early in 1945, Brentwood native and Marine radio man Ken Luttrell was in the first wave of Marines to land on Iwo. He left on a gurney, barely surviving a shell fragment that entered one side of his face and exited the other.
Thank you, sir, for your service.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service, sir.
On a Greater St. Louis honor flight in 2016, Ken Luttrell laid eyes on the Marine Memorial depicting the iconic scene on Mount Suribachi for the first time with family at his side.
I'm sorry. It's rough.
71 years after nearly losing his life on Iwo Jima, he was overcome by emotion.
Very emotional. But it's a beautiful memorial. But you have all these memories, and this brings them all back.
Like so many men of his generation, Ken was motivated to serve by the attack on Pearl Harbor. Did you feel like it was your turn to serve?
Oh, definitely. I thought it was everybody's turn.
He wanted to enlist at 17, but his mother wouldn't agree to it. So he joined the Marines as soon as he could without parental permission after his 18th birthday. He was shipped out to the Pacific and saw his first combat in the Marshall Islands in February of 1944. It was more than he expected.
It was terrifying and kind of confusing. We had a purpose, we knew what we had to do, but it always didn't always go the way we expected it to go.
Ken spent the next year fighting the Japanese on the small islands of the Pacific. On February 19, 1945, Ken was in the first wave of the amphibious landing on Iwo Jima.
And this is the area that they were really interested in taking first.
Charlie. 2 days later, while trying to establish radio contact, Ken and his team of 5 were blasted by the Japanese.
As soon as we put the antenna up, they were waiting for that because that becomes a point of interest to them, and all the spots were zeroed in. They saw the antenna, they just dropped shells on it and wiped out my little detachment.
A shell fragment entered Ken's left cheek and exited his right, doing extensive damage to his mouth, teeth, and sinus cavity. While on a gurney waiting to be evac'd off the island, he began to choke on the blood that had filled his mouth and throat. He then likely saved his own life. You flipped yourself over on that gurney?
Just by flopping, and because your hands are strapped. You're strapped down, you can't move. But I was able to flop. I can't tell you exactly how, but...
Now that likely saved your life?
Oh, I'm sure it did, yeah.
Ken spent most of the next year moving from hospital to hospital to hospital, undergoing at least 9 surgeries to repair the damage done to his mouth and sinuses. So many surgeries he actually lost count. But he does have vivid memories of the day the Japanese surrendered.
That was August 14th, I believe, 1945, and that was Millington, Tennessee at that time, the hospital I was in. And we had a little celebration there. One of the guys sneaked in a bottle of champagne and passed it around, so that was about the extent of it, but it was memorable.
Ken is 95 now and still needs occasional procedures on his mouth and teeth, but he says he has no regrets about serving his country. And Ken is proud of his brotherhood with his fellow Marines. He says simply and humbly, our group did a good job. We need you to help us tell the stories of those who served our country. Go to KMOV.com and click on the Spotlight section on our homepage. You can see all of our stories there, and you can nominate a veteran whose story you'd like to see told. I want to thank Noah Brooks,